Hey, you guys, welcome back to Brownie's Judgment. I'm your host, Zuli, and today I wanted to talk about 5 pieces of advice when you're lied to. And full disclaimer, I am a little bit sick right now, so I apologize for the different voice. So I'm going to jump right into it. Number 1 is feel what you need to so you can let it go. I think the most important part in order to process being lied to is to realize and accept those feelings that you feel. You know what I mean? Like, no one likes to be lied to. And it could be something as small as, saying that someone took out the trash and then you look over there and you see that it's not taken out. Or it could be something like they lied to you about their age, or they lied to you about, like the status of who they are or anything, whether that be like a job or whatever. And I think that we need to feel what we feel and accept it and realize it. Every one of us are going to react a little bit differently when it comes to being lied to. You know what I mean? Like, some of us tend to default to sadness and maybe, we need to cry. There's some of us that get angry and we feel like, we need to go on a run, or some of us just are, in a sense, numb and confused and don't know how to process it. And that's very real as well. And I think that it's important to have different outlets that we can release our emotions, And I think that can probably be an episode for another day, like things that to release our emotions. But regardless, I think that it's important that we have the opportunity to give ourselves to understand that, hey, I feel this type of way because of I was deceived. And I think that in order to let it go, it first needs to be acknowledged that, we feel what we feel, if that makes any sense. And number 2 is that we must accept the fact that this person lied to us. I think that it's hard, once you process your emotions, to accept the fact that this happened in the first place, because in order to be in a position to be lied to or whatever by an individual, it means that we put ourselves in a vulnerable place in order for that to happen. And especially if you are more the type to be a little bit more guarded, and then finally, you open your heart again and stuff like that, I think that it can be very, like how I mentioned, in the last episode, it's very disheartening whenever you discover that someone isn't who they say they are, and slowly you figure that out. First impressions can be very deceitful as well, and I think that's not talked about enough. I oftentimes feel that people just try to show up as the perfect version of themselves to try to impress, even if it's done unconsciously, especially if they really care about what you think or they really want to be in your life. But I think that accepting that people like that exist and that they have the potential to be able to do a certain thing like lie is unfortunately a part of life. And I think that when we are more conscious of people like that existing and not going in so blindly, I think that really helps, because oftentimes when you wear your heart on your sleeve, as people say, you get hurt. But I don't think the problem is having a big heart. I think the issue is the fact that people like that exist, and they always will, And I think that everyone's allowed to coexist, right? None of us can play the moral game of saying, oh, this person's better than that person, because that's not how it works, right? But So we do know what we do and don't tolerate. That's what we do know. And so acceptance isn't necessarily for them to accept what they did, but rather is to accept that this was done to you in order to walk away from it and from this person and have peace with it and have your head held up high, so that way they don't take more than they already have. Because if we continue to allow ourselves to be in this cycle of feeling hurt because of this individual, then they'll continue taking back our power over and over again, even if we don't want to admit it. Number 3, this kind of piggybacks on, number 1 of needing to feeling what you need to let it go, and number 2 to accept the fact that this person lied to you. Number 3 is actually to understand that what they did is not a reflection of you. And I think this is a very important one, because we think that it was our fault, that, it's easy, to kind of catastrophize in that way of, oh, like, it's my fault that I got lied to because I let my guard down, and that because I'm dumb, or that I was stupid, or like, why did I trust this person? But the reality is that it's not your fault. You know what I mean? I think that we can get lied to just like anybody else, right? But it doesn't make it any easier. Some of us are more, how do I say it? Resilient, I guess, in the sense of bouncing back kind of thing. Whenever you find out a really big lie or small or whatever, I mean, everyone has different tolerances for things. It is not a sense of one person is better than the other because they're more resilient, but rather, I think a part of the reason why people are more resilient than others is because the resilient ones understand that it's not a reflection of them that they were lied to. And I think it's important to be able to separate ourselves as individuals from that, if that makes any sense. I want to say that we can be down on ourselves because we try to make something seem as it is when it's not, because when we can romanticize a person or a situation, it's hard to believe that they could lie to us. But when they do, it's kind of a shock, and I think that's where the pain of the lies comes from, is that deep wound of it happened again, or if even if it's the first time, I would argue that it's probably even harder, but yeah, I don't really want to be too hurtful or whatever towards the people that have done this, because all of us have lied in some point, some shape or form, so if I were to say that liars are this and that, like, that's speaking even to myself, so I don't think that addressing what the liars are, or what that person did, like what that makes them, but rather understanding that because that lie existed and they delivered it to you, maybe that's a sense of protection, and I really do believe that, if this person's lying to you from the get-go, what makes you think that it won't happen more in the future, especially if it's like a really small dumb thing that does kind of matter, in the sense of that small thing can build up into something bigger over time, and especially if it's something big, that's definitely a very big red flag. Number 4 is pray to God to take the pain away and for it to teach you what it needs to. This kind of piggybacks on number 3 about understanding and separating this person and you, and this being a reflection of them and not yourself. Praying to God to take the pain away helps take the burden off of you, and He takes it instead, and He truly wants to take on our burdens for us. And I feel like that's something that I've really forgotten, especially recently with, trying to accomplish my goals and stuff like that, as I had mentioned in the previous episode with my faith, my fitness, and, career and whatnot. I want to say that when you get distracted and everything, we can forget that God is there not as a tool, but as an individual to take that grueling pain inside, not even just for the situation, but in general, that He's always there wanting to relieve us of that burden. He wants us to be able to have that peace in our life and stuff like that. And then, of course, a situation like this would definitely take one's peace away. Like, it totally makes sense. And not that it makes it right that this person did it and that you feel this way, but rather, it's a term like, how I mentioned before, accepting that this happened and realizing, that not even that you had to come to the end of yourself to go back to God and say, can you please take this pain away? But rather, it's a gentle reminder that maybe this is something that, a lesson maybe, or a reminder that we need to be a little bit more careful about who we're choosing, or anything like that, in the sense of, but regardless, as far as emotional, it's important that we release those emotions once we feel them and understand them and put a name to them, and let them go. And letting them go, that's a very big part of it, is giving the pain to someone else to help you heal from, And I also, pray that He also teaches you that this situation helps you learn what you need to learn, and, like, whatever needs to be taught is taught, because lies reveal a lot. It reveals about how differing the situation truly is, and like the perception of the reality of what's going on. It also, in a sense, helps you realize that, okay, maybe my radar or my intuition, or whatever word you want to use for it, wasn't as strong as I thought it was, and I thought that I had full control over this situation, but turns out I didn't. That's very real. Even though we don't like lessons sometimes, I think it's important that we allow them to happen when they need, and let them truly flow in and accept them, because if we don't, that's why we learn the same lessons over and over and over again until we finally learn. And even for myself, having to say that out loud sucks, but it's true, And then finally, number 5, this is going to be our last piece of advice for when you're lied to. Number 5 is, don't let it harden your heart. God did not give you a heart of stone. And then I'm going to give, the Bible verse to help support this. This is going to come from Ezekiel chapter 36, verse 26. And this is from the NIV version, or the New International Version. I will give you a new heart, and put a new spirit in you. I will remove from you your heart of stone and give you a heart of flesh. I'm going to just read that one more time. I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit in you. I will remove from you your heart of stone and give you a heart of flesh. We're not meant to harden our hearts. And I think this is an amazing verse for myself, even, is that it's so easy to want to just harden our heart and be like, you know what, forgive this, like, I'm not gonna trust nobody no more, like, everyone's the same, or why am I gonna open myself up like that if this happens, kind of thing. And I think that's not, it's kind of like a self-sabotaging thing, of being like, oh yeah, because this happened, I'm gonna do this, and like thinking in absolutes of, oh no, I have to like completely sort of derail this and disregard what happened. And the only way I can do that is to be mean to this person and ignore them and just act like they never existed, because that's the only way for the pain to go away. But that's not how it works. Like I said, we have to feel it. We have to accept it. We have to understand. We have to pray. And we can't let it harden us. Because at the end of the day, the one that's going to be delving in that pain, dealing with that pain, is us. You know? And even maybe the other person, if you know, they care that they lied or whatever. But regardless, I can't tell you if it's a good idea to confront this person or not. I'll be honest with you, I don't know. Confrontation is something myself that I struggle with. But what I will say is that as long as you walk with your head held up high, and you understand and you know in your heart of hearts that you were honest as best as you could, and you know and you feel it in your gut that this person has lied to you, and you don't feel peace anymore, if it's possible, because like I said, I understand that there's different situations of people lying to. If it's possible, you know, walk away. And I know it's easier said than done. And if you can't walk away, find some sort of way to make a wedge into the sense of where they don't have easily as much access to you as before. And, you know, I know I don't really make content like this. I know, like, I try to keep it positive and stuff like that. But the reality is that I understand that there's, you know, emotions, there's pains that we're going through. And I'm not going to act like they don't exist, you know, because even for me, whenever things like this come up, I think it's important that every now and then at least that we just come back to an episode like this to really anchor what it's like in the sense of having to deal with emotions that are difficult and situations in order to heal and truly accept the lessons that will help develop us as individuals. You know what I mean? I know this might have been a little bit, like I said, a little bit different, but I think that hopefully if something like this has happened to anyone recently, that, you know, doing these steps, like I said, number one, feeling what you need to so you can let go. Number two, accept the fact that this person lied to you. Understand. Number three, understand what they did is not a reflection of you. Number four, pray to God to help you take the pain away and for it to teach you what it needs to. Number five, to not let it harden your heart, that God did not give you a heart of stone. I really, truly do hope as time progresses and you apply these tools that you truly can heal. I really do mean that, because I know that it's hard. If there's like any specific emotion or situation that you would like for me to talk about, feel free, you know, to comment and let me know, so that way that also helps me create better content for you guys and what you would like to hear. But either way, that's going to be the end of our episode for today. Thank you so much for listening, as always, and spending your time here on Brownie's Judgment. Catch you guys in the next one. And as always, God bless.